Good? All right. All right, welcome to the Thursday, May 21st, Walnut Creek Transportation Commission meeting. Will the secretary please take a roll call?
Student Commissioner Kirsch, absent. Commissioner Ash, absent. Commissioner Guerrero.
Present.
Commissioner McMahon.
Present.
Vice Chair Patch.
Present.
Chair Crowley.
Present. All right, moving on to public communication. So this portion is for anyone in the public who wishes to address the Transportation Commission on matters within our jurisdiction that are not on the agenda. So if you'd like to address the Transportation Commission for an item not on the agenda, this is your opportunity.
We have no members of the public wanting to provide comments.
All righty, thank you. Then we will close this portion of public comment. Moving on to the consent calendar, I believe all we have is approval of the minutes of March 19th, 2026, our prior meeting. So I'll just poll the commissioners if they have any edits, upgrades, or changes. Commissioner Guerrero?
No changes.
All right. And forgive me, I'm still got new commissioners here. Commissioner McMahon?
Nothing.
Vice Chair Patch?
I'm good.
And the chair has no comments. So,
Motion?
I motion to approve the minutes.
I second.
all right, motion made and seconded. Let's do a roll call vote, please.
Commissioner Guerrero.
Aye.
Commissioner McMahon.
Aye.
Vice Chair Patch.
Yes.
Chair Crowley.
Aye. All right, consent items are closed. Moving on to item 4, consideration items. So item A, electric vehicle charger program analysis and recommendations. Does staff have a presentation for us?
Good evening, Commissioners.
Good evening.
All right, so I'm Candace Reagan-Mumby. I'm the City's Sustainability Manager, and I've been working on this project with Gina Eicher, who's one of our Public Works Managers. She'll be here to help answer questions. And so we're going to give an update on some analysis that we have been doing about the city's public EV charging program. So tonight we'll cover a bit of background on the chargers that we have and how they relate to the city's sustainability goals. Then we'll give more detail on the current state of the chargers and some of the performance gaps that we'd like to address and some of the opportunities that we came across in the analysis, and then we'll talk briefly about the next steps. So to get us started with the sustainability goals, so the city adopted a sustainability action plan in 2023, which is how we're really organizing all the city's efforts across different topics to reach state sustainability goals and also to reach the council's priority of environmental sustainability and climate action. And for Walnut Creek, our largest area when we look at our greenhouse gas inventory, so we try to measure community-wide where are emissions coming from, the largest category is transportation. And that's really due, as you all are very familiar with, to our suburban development. We're very dependent on passenger vehicles for folks to get around. And right now, most of those are gas-powered internal combustion engine vehicles. So really, from the levers that the city has control over, encouraging folks to transition, well, ideally to drive less, and then if they are going to drive EVs is one of the biggest ways that we can hopefully bring down greenhouse gas emissions from the community and our impact on the climate. So because of that, we have some goals in the plan that relate to EV chargers and other EV adoption. And one of the goals is to have the city have on our property 70 charging ports by 2030. And we'll get into a bit more detail on what we have now, but we are on track with our fleet chargers. We have, I think it's 52 right now, so we do think we're well on track to meet that goal. So before the plan was adopted, we already had public EV chargers. The first ones went in about 10 years ago, And so that program itself has its own set of goals to make sure that it's being successful. So these are the four areas that we look at. First, we want to make sure that the infrastructure is sustainable, and we think of that in two different ways. One, we provide this asset of parking to the community, and so we want to, for folks who are EV drivers, we want them to have access to chargers. But we want to make sure those chargers are assets that are lasting, that are in good quality, and that are something that can be well maintained and managed. And then once we put that infrastructure in, anything we have access to for the community, we want it to be highly utilized. So make sure that folks are charging at them. But we also want to make sure that we're filling a gap in the market, and so we want to hit the folks most who wouldn't be able to charge somewhere else or would have challenges charging elsewhere. And this is something that might drive them towards switching to an EV by having this access. And then as with anything we do, we want to make sure folks have a superior customer experience when they are utilizing our programs. So getting to the detail of the chargers that we own. So the next slide after this is a map with kind of laying out where they are. But right now we have 40 chargers that are available to the public. So 40 ports across 23 chargers. So some of the charger structures, they have 2 ports on them. And they're located in our downtown garages. And then we have a couple outside in the small lot at City Hall, and then some more at Shadelands Civic Arts Center. And then if you're looking at our chargers within the broader context of, as a driver's driving around in Walnut Creek looking to charge, where could they go? This is an area we're planning to do more detailed analysis on. Right now, we only have data from some other public aggregators, and it's a quickly changing market. So our estimate there is that there's somewhere from 150 to 250 chargers in the radius of Walnut Creek and our very close neighbors. So our public charging ports of 40, that is a chunk of that, but there are a lot of other options out there now. So these are the maps I was mentioning. So the one on the left shows the green dots are from the U.S. Department of Energy data on where publicly available chargers are, and then the orange ones are our chargers. And I'll just point out, if I know how to use my clicker. So you'll see this orange dot here is on the one on the left, and it's not on the one on the right, and that's because these are our fleet-only chargers at the courtyard. So those are chargers that we own, but they're not available to the public. The one on the right just kind of highlights what we just talked about in the past slide. Most of the publicly owned chargers that are available to the public are in downtown, and then we also have a few over at Shadelands. So taking a step back from that, what do you need to make sure that you have a modern, successful EV charging program? And what's shown on this slide here is how a lot of public agencies and municipalities have thought about it for a while. You just need a charger, and then the cars will come. And that's how a lot of the grant funding is, right? They'll help you pay to put the actual thing in the ground, and then kind of the high level you think of it, you're good to go then. But actually, there's a lot of other elements that you need to make sure that it's successful. So kind of you don't have to absorb all of what's on the slide here. I think the 3 things I want to point out is you need 2 different types of staff. You need staff who can provide maintenance on the charger, so actually switch out components, whether that's them degrading over time, vandalism. For lots of different reasons, the chargers need work. And then you also need folks on the customer support side, so that when a customer is using the charger, they can reach someone if they're having an issue. And then you need some data tracking to make sure that the chargers are being communicated with, and that also we can kind of see how they're being used and operated. So right now, our model, we definitely have this part down, but we've been sort of using a few different structures to try and fit in the other pieces. And so the way that that's looking for us is that there's nobody in the city who it's their main responsibility to manage the chargers. It's sort of something that different teams are doing on top of work that they already have. And so from their labor, from materials, and mainly from the electricity going into them, we're spending approximately $250,000 a year to provide this asset to the public. As I said before, we started this about 10 years ago. Some of the chargers are original, and so we're starting to see the aging in that infrastructure, but we've also seen a lot of them go out for various reasons. So we're trying to keep on top of the equipment that we have. And then because we're managing it all internally, we have different systems. We don't have the most modern data tracking on who's using the chargers for how long. A lot of that is, there are more modern ways to be able to track that, and then that could help us look into how to expand them potentially in the future. And then we are seeing at some of our sites, folks are coming there specifically to use the chargers, maybe not to access the city facility that's there as well. And so sometimes they have a more charger-focused mindset, and that can provide some conflicts with the actual use at the site. So for example, our Shaylin site is a preschool. There's lots of pickup and drop off and people moving around and lots of kids. And some folks are, coming in and out of the parking lot just for the chargers. And so that has led to some conflicts just in the different priorities of users at that site. So the chargers went in around 2016, 2017 to start. In the 2018 Rethinking Mobility Plan, it's kind of understood that there could be reasons to start charging a fee for the chargers. Currently, we do not charge for them, but coming out of that plan, a fee range was established so that we could elect to charge money for the use of the chargers. Charge to charge is kind of how we refer to it internally. As I said, right now we're not utilizing that fee, but it has been sort of updated through different fee structures since 2018, and currently the adopted fee range is between 16 cents to $1 per kilowatt hour, which is how you measure EV charging versus per gallon. And we've been doing some research and looking at what other publicly, city-owned chargers in Contra Costa County, what folks are charging for those. And from our research so far, most of them are charging a fee, and it averages about 36 cents a kilowatt hour. So this next slide, it goes back to those goals that I talked about previously of what are the goals that we have around this EV charger program and having public access. And this slide here kind of has a color gradient to show how well we're doing right now at meeting each of those goals. So the chargers are highly utilized. If you drive by them most of the time, you'll see there's usually people in most of them. So from that one, we are doing well right now. The community access is more of an orange, medium success, because our understanding is that they're kind of like the best kept secret in a way. So there's a small group of people who know these chargers exist and know that they're free and are highly utilizing them, but it's not generally known amongst the community. And because they're so highly utilized right now, we don't necessarily promote them very much because there's not always availability at them, right? And so we're really trying to target folks, as I said earlier, who might not buy an EV otherwise. So with them, right now, with them being free for everyone, it's cheaper generally than charging at home. So we do see that those folks who know about them are using them a lot. So that's kind of there's a few different ways to look at that. In terms of the sustainable infrastructure, right now, because we don't have the dedicated internal staff and the management company of the chargers changes on how you can replace different parts over time, it takes a lot of communication back and forth between our staff and the charger companies. And so it's been challenging to keep them up and running and replace them quickly. And so that leads to our darkest red is the quality customer experience. So even though we have these high utilizers, we do hear from them a lot when chargers are down. They can be down for a long time. And then as I mentioned earlier, it can right now cause some challenges with other facility users as well. So we think that there are ways to improve this. So our recommendations to improve the program, there are third-party operators that we could contract with who would be able to provide 24/7 customer support, which is not a model that we're able to provide right now, and then also provide proactive maintenance on the chargers. And they have more modern tracking systems. There's a lot of different flexibility in how we set up a contract with someone like that. And you, in the contracts, can set minimum required uptime is how it's referred. So making sure the chargers are working, 95+% of the time, things like that. We can set turnaround minimums for response time and all of that. So it can be very closely managed, but it's also in a way that's done by a third party. So it doesn't have to take up as much of our staff time. And it's also folks who are more expert in this. This is what they do all day, every day. Generally, how those work is that the fee that you are charging for the use of the charger, they take a cut of it. And the cut depends on how much you're having them do. So there's quite a bit of variability there, and we're still sort of researching the exact model of what's out there in the market and what might work well for us. But in order to do that, you have to be charging a fee for them to take a cut of. So in order to make that work, we would suggest beginning to charge a fee for the public-facing chargers. And our goal that we'd recommend is to still set the rates lower, to start lower than our comparable neighbor cities, with the goal that we still want them to be accessible. We still want it to be something that would be much cheaper than fueling a gas-powered car, but give us enough funding to keep the system sustainable. And maybe for folks who could be charging at home, maybe they have slightly less incentive to be using the city chargers, and then that would free up space for those folks who don't have that option to charge at home. Because this would be new, and we'd be still kind of figuring out all the logistics, we'd make sure to regularly review those rates and ensure that it's creating the behavior that's our goal. So this is our last slide before we take feedback and questions. So we're coming to you tonight to get your feedback on this analysis and your thoughts about this plan. And then in July, we're going to take this to City Council as part of a larger plan that we're developing that also looks at goals around our internal fleet. And if we get approval of the plan from Council, then we would spend late summer and early fall doing that vendor analysis and really getting a much better understanding of what exactly the economics of that would be. If we move forward with that direction, then we would do targeted outreach to the users of the chargers before, likely around early 2027 would be when we might see a fee be implemented. So that's the overview that I have for you tonight, and I'm happy to take any questions and receive your feedback.
Thank you. All right, so we'll do Commissioner Q&A. So how about we start with Commissioner McMahon?
All right. Thank you so much for the presentation. That was really good and really clear, and it's awesome. Yeah, so I think the one thing that I was kind of thinking when you're talking about the data for these chargers and like the locations, I don't know if we can go back to that map real quick. But I think if possible, can we get as much data as possible before we make like too many decisions of like where the private chargers are, where the public chargers are, like who's using what, like how often are they being used, so then we can actually like, you know, put more in the place they need to go instead of, you know, putting extras in if they're not being used and stuff like that. So yeah, with the data, just collecting that data, is that like doable with, you know, before this all gets completed, or, you know, do you have to start making money first to be able to collect that data? Because I know that takes time, and that's a whole process too. Yeah.
Yes, that's a great question. I think the way we're thinking of approaching it right now is sort of stabilizing the charger network that we have now, improving that customer experience and the maintenance of it first, which we think that this, you know, getting a third party in will help with that. It will also get us better data on what those users at those facilities are like. But I think before we expand the public chargers, we want to do exactly that, get much better data on which are already publicly available, also see if we can understand what might be coming down in the market, what are the trends, what are some of the private facilities that, you know, might put their own chargers in, and so we can look at exactly that, where are we really filling gaps. Another layer I'll mention that I want to look at in that analysis is the housing stock that we have. You know, where do we have older multifamily where it's going to be the most challenging for folks to charge at home, and do we have, you know, city-owned property around that or nearby that we could utilize? So before we expand anymore, that is the direction we'd like to go in.
And then just for the private garages, do they currently charge, like the main ones in downtown, or the private chargers in Walnut Creek in general?
Yes, I don't have
Okay.
the rates on hand, but that is our understanding is that they do.
Okay. So we could match theirs or get kind of close or be like under theirs, basically. Let's see. And then, yeah, is there any other cities that are kind of, you know, doing this on like a similar size to us that are doing a really good job of this, like either through a private partnership or they're doing it themselves, that we could kind of, copy what they're doing a little bit?
This is something that I think cities in general are struggling with. I think it's the maintenance end of that. I think the vast majority of cities are charging something at this point, which is then allowing them to fund. And there are different models of, is it internal staff, is it external, which charger company do they work with? I'm on a lot of email threads of like, what is the most reliable EV charger brand? So I think we are all kind of figuring it out together. But that is something that we think about is our drivers especially are driving to our neighboring cities, and they don't really care if they're in Walnut Creek or Pleasant Hill or Concord. They want a similar charging experience. So that is something that we try to coordinate with.
Okay, cool. Well, thank you so much.
Commissioner Guerrero.
Thank you. It's a good presentation. Just a couple questions. Of the $250,000 that we spend annually, how much of that is to pay electricity?
So I believe I have it written down. I think it's 155,000. Yes, that's our estimate.
Okay, and that comes out of the city budget to pay that.
Yeah, so right now it's all general funded, that 250,000.
And do any of these charging stations support solar power in order to offset that, or is that something in consideration?
The only one that's at a facility with solar is City Hall, which we currently are not monitoring. That's a whole nother challenge. The solar panels on City Hall are operational, but we also need better data tracking on those. But yes, ideally, I would say that is offsetting it a bit. I'm not sure if we've thought about putting solar in any of the other facilities. Yes. So ideally, the EV chargers would be on their own meter, which could still interact with the solar on the building. But you can get an EV charger electricity rate from MCE, our energy provider, that's more favorable to the type of charging for that. Some of ours are networked on their own meter and some of them are not. So that would be a goal over time too, is to get them on their own meter, but probably wouldn't happen necessarily for all of them before we would like to implement this.
So I assume a lot of this information was developed from Black and Viach?
Yes. So we worked with them. That was our consultant on this plan, yeah.
And do they have more data as to what Ryan was saying as far as other cities that have been successful, as far as, how to go by implementing that? And I guess to follow that, is solar powered, charging stations that support the infrastructure, is that something they recommend? I'm just kind of curious to that piece.
That wasn't something that came up in the analysis or something that we've seen directly from other cities. I think even if the electricity that the chargers were using was fully offset by the solar power or some other alternative, you would still have the maintenance costs and the networking costs. So there are still costs, but obviously electricity it's more than half of the rate we're paying now. But we would still see those maintenance challenges and those sorts of things where a third party could help address that.
Got it. And then what's the difference between the lots that like Tesla runs, where you see all the Tesla chargers like by the gym or across from Heather Farms, and they just put those in now. Like, are we benefiting? Are we profiting at all from any of those private ones?
So none of those are on city property, so they're all managed privately. We did look at models to, potentially lease city spaces, which is something that some other cities do, and then the third party can do 100% of that. But that would be, I think we were looking at how do we solve the problem now in the short term with the chargers that we have, and from our analysis, transitioning that to the third party is what makes sense because someone who would come in and lease a spot, they don't want to buy our old infrastructure or work with our aging chargers. So when we go back to looking at expanding, that's something that we'll keep on the table to consider. But I think in the short term, that's not something that is likely to solve the issues that we're having.
Okay. I just have one last thing. Could you show me where you talked about the different, the customer and the network and the little map that showed
Yes.
who deals? Yeah. So right now, how is that managed? These pieces right here, Like who actually does that for
You wanna talk
for
to
us?
Gina? Yes, I'll bring Gina up for that one.
So I just want to understand a little bit.
Candace is much taller. Good evening. Gina Eicher, Public Works Manager. So currently, right now, we have some of our signal technicians who are not EV experts, but they are able to go out there and make repairs to our EV infrastructure. The phone calls go to our traffic operation center, which really only monitors, they're in the field most of the day, so they don't even get the calls until the end of the day. Then they're able to kind of go through their, their voicemails. The following day, they may be able to go out and take a look at it. 90% of the time right now, we do not have the infrastructure in place that allows us to make repairs. So the way that the chargers were originally set up is that they used to be modular. That's not really the case so much anymore with the current vendors. That's one of the current vendors that we have. We have to replace an entire system every time that we have a charger go down. So, and a lot of that has to do with just the way that we had it, the existing contract is. So there's quite a bit that we can do to improve that experience and to allow for people to have easier access to the charging systems.
Got it. So this outside or third party would definitely relieve a lot of the stress
Yes.
of this.
Yeah, we have to do a contract every single time something happens. So we end up going through, and whether they get damaged or it's something that just because of the time in them, we end up having to do individual contracts to get these repaired. And so that takes time in its own too.
Sure. Okay. Thank you. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Vice Chair Patch.
The nice thing about going after other people have is that a lot of my questions were already answered. So a couple that I do that we haven't talked about. Do we have a plan in place to replace the old ones already? Like, I know you said you're not looking at expanding the locations right now, but if they're already failing, are we looking at replacing the 10-year plus old ones?
Yeah, so we are sort of, well, as Gina was talking about, when we get to the point of needing to repair them, especially now that the modular model is kind of going away with some of the brands, we are looking at when it makes sense to take them out entirely and replace with a company that maybe we've had a better experience with. And we have replaced some, I believe the ones at the library. Yeah, if you see the Blink model chargers, those are the newer ones that we've worked with. So it is something we're doing over time, and that's coming out of the general fund still right now.
Okay. And kind of similar to the Tesla question, but not specifically Tesla, have you thought of any corporate sponsorships that like they are sponsoring specific charging ports and they might be in charge of the maintenance?
My understanding where the market is now on that is that those, and the Tesla, this is true for those, they're generally the DC fast chargers, which we didn't really talk about charging levels in the presentation. But just for full background, there's like level 1, which is plugging in at home into a regular plug. There's level 2, which is what we have. It's sort of an in-between energy level. And then there's level 3 or DC fast. And so those they generally cost more per kilowatt hour because they're expending energy much more quickly. And so my understanding where the market is right now is a lot of that sort of model is that DC fast charger, kind of more charging hub, folks coming in and out within like 45-minute increments. And so the companies that are doing that are not looking at the level 2, that's the service model we have right now. So I think that would kind of be opening a whole nother possibility that would need to be part of that next level of analysis for where might that kind of model make sense for us too.
Sure. Okay. And then if we do start charging people for using the chargers, how much of the contract and electricity are you hoping to offset with the charging? Like, are you trying to get to 100% or is it half of it?
I think we're trying to get to a better place than we're at now. Because of the lack of sophistication in our data tracking right now, we don't really have that understanding. And I think we also will have to see how it affects our customer demand, how much utilization we're having. So we honestly aren't sure how that's going to level out in the end. It will definitely, we're not going to be profiting off of it, that's for sure, right? I think it's still going to be probably subsidized even to some degree, but much less than it is now. And that's what over time is we're going to track the rate, especially early on, to make sure we're kind of hitting that right mark. So that was a long way to say I'm not sure.
Fair enough. Okay, and then my last question is, I don't know how to phrase this actually, so I'm just gonna skip it for now.
We'll come back to you. All right, thank you. Great presentation. Commissioner Guerrero got my top question, how much of the money was going to electricity? So I'll ask the flip side question. So the other approximate $100,000, what would be the biggest buckets on an annual that we're spending on that's not electricity?
With our current model,
Yeah.
the next biggest bucket is the contracts that Gina was mentioning with maintenance staff. That's about another 60,000, and then the rest is sort of spread across our internal staff time. If we are purchasing the equipment ourselves that's needed to replace it, and then the limited networking that we do have, the fees for that.
Okay, great. So speaking of the data and networking, if you can share briefly, what kind of data elements do we get today, and what are the ones we don't get that we really want that makes having one of these providers really beneficial?
Right now, we do not have a system in place to regularly monitor data. So it's sort of like a project to get the data updated and dig into that. So what we would be able to get with this is more of our understanding, and we'll find out the details of this when we do the RFP and really understand what the vendors are offering. But our understanding for the research we have now is it's more of like a dashboard model where you could regularly check in what days of time, what times of day are they being most used, how long are folks staying at them. There's also likely the ability to get understanding of repeat customers versus different customers. So all of that would really give us better insight to who is using it and how they're using it, and how's that behavior maybe different than some of our other parking customers in those facilities as well.
So with the existing free model, or if we got one of these companies in place, but we were still going with free, how would we identify like the repeat customers or who's using it? Like what data, if anything, do we capture from the people driving up and plugging in today?
Yeah, do you want to talk about that part?
You're like, maybe. So the data, if we were to try to go, we would have to get another contract in place that would allow for us to better monitor that. It really depends if that's a good answer right now, because we really don't know what our options are. So we're really looking to kind of, when we go out to try to get a third-party vendor, we're really going to do more of like a request for qualifications and have them tell us what it is that we're missing out on. Because right now, we don't know what we don't know.
Right, because I think if we go to a fee model, we're going to get credit card numbers, and we'll know who's using the system, right?
So it wouldn't necessarily be with credit card numbers. I think that users have to have like a sign on, or like
an app.
Like an app that they utilize. So they don't do it with credit cards because there's a whole compliance thing with that.
PCI.
Yeah, exactly with it. Thank you. So there is an entire PCI model that they have to follow, and that's all part of the process that we would have to go through. We would be getting way more in the details if I started to explain the fact that sometimes the vendor's not even involved in that.
Yep.
So it is just a totally different option. But we don't know what we don't know right now, and so we're really looking to see what kind of models are possibly out there, and that would allow us, by going out, to search out a third-party vendor, we would be able to see what the options are, and maybe they could provide us information even with what we currently have, but we won't know that until we go out.
So here's a question, and this is a question I think that would be it's a pass-through question, I think, when you're asking vendors. Would any one of these vendors have the ability to, wait for it, have a discount-free pricing, kind of like a validation model. So if someone comes just to charge, they would spend a little more per kilowatt hour. But if they came to charge but ate at Original Joe's or one of our other restaurants, maybe they get it for half price or free. It'd be interesting to ask the vendors if anybody could do that.
Yeah. Excellent question. We'll pass that question along.
Because if we're going to give people free electricity, it might be nice to get them to spend money downtown, right?
Yes,
Or in the other locations.
correct.
I think you've already answered this question. I was going to ask if our chargers today are all the same vendor and model.
They are not. We
Okay.
actually have 2 vendors that we're utilizing right now.
And if we went to one of these newer vendors, would we wholesale replace out all these chargers?
Not
to,
necessarily, and
okay.
that is not our intent. Our intent
Okay.
is to utilize the existing infrastructure and have them be able to work on the oldest infrastructure, as it's needed. We can determine what that looks like. It can be anything from a full replacement to use what we have until it dies.
Got it.
Right, so we can determine what that looks like.
And I know in the letter or memo we received as a part of our packet, it talked about if we did it internally, we would need, it sounded like it said 1 full-time person.
Yes, and even then, one full-time person wouldn't be able to offer 24/7 service for repairs and/or, necessarily being able to get, chargers running up and running again. We won't have an inventory on hand to quickly swap things out, as when you have a vendor on hand, they have those options.
Okay, so it sounds like something's more viable, beneficial to outsource than, I always hate to see jobs outsourced if the city can.
I think
have another
that is our
employee.
recommendation,
Yeah.
is to look at the third-party vendor.
Got it. Those are all my questions. Vice Chair Patch, did you?
Your
up
questions
with
got
yours?
to what I needed around the data, so we're good.
Okay.
Awesome. All right. Any further questions from any of the commissioners?
I had one other question, actually. I don't know if you said this, if I missed it, but did you say what the cost per charger is for to replace one or to put one in?
Invite Gina back up.
Or average? I know there's a bunch of different ones too, but yeah.
There are a lot. Currently, we're seeing anywhere from 11,000 to 15,000.
It's a lot of money, yeah.
It is a lot of money.
And if you do a bunch in a row, does it get a little bit cheaper because the infrastructure is kind of shared?
No, so it depends on which
Yeah.
company we're talking about too right now, because like I said, there is one of our vendors is allowing for some modular upgrades and updates. Another one, if there's a hose that's broken, they want the entire head replaced. And so, whereas before, and the model for one of the vendors is drastically changed from when we originally went with them. So that's kind of the other thing that's pushing us to move to a third-party vendor that can help us better manage this.
Okay, cool, thank you.
I do have one more question. I'm sorry. So originally we put these in 2017. We don't charge for them. There must have been a plan or some kind of idea of why or, what we were going to do with these. So my question is more like, if these are level 2 and they don't charge very fast, and then we charging a fee, what's the incentive? I don't have an EV, so I don't know if I can answer this, but I'm asking. What's the incentive to use a level 2 that's not as fast, and now they have to pay a fee for it? And will they?
Yes. So the intent when they were first put in, and you also think, 10 years ago, the EV market was in a very different place. And so it really was, we won't charge a fee now. The goal of this is to try and encourage folks to transition their vehicles, and free is better than a fee, right? And now there are so many more chargers available and different charging models and benefits from MCE. If you charge at home, you can sign up for a special app that assists with that. There's a lot more options out there. And so from a convenience versus charging perspective, customers have more distinction there. So I think the goal with charging a fee is really to make sure it's a sustainable system that is providing the quality customer experience. I think another benefit that we believe we will find from our analysis is that it will target more the folks who really need those chargers, who aren't able to charge at home, who aren't able to charge at work. Our feedback so far, from folks has been, oh, if you charge, at kind of this level, I'll probably just charge at home. It takes that convenience out. It's going to cost a similar amount. But it's really for the folks who, live in an older apartment or don't have on-site parking, that for whatever reason, they're not able to charge at home. Or they're already accessing our facilities, and it's something that, can be a benefit for them when they're there. Maybe it's convenient.
Okay, thank you.
Vice Chair, anything? So I did have one more question.
I appreciate the engagement.
See, we care. When you buy solar panels for your house, now you can also, essentially lease them and put no money down, and it's like a power purchase program. Do any of these vendors, just out of curiosity, have a model where we don't have to do the capital investment? It's their chargers. They do everything, full service package. We pay X, customer pays Y, and hopefully we can break even.
The model is more, we lease the parking space to them, and then it's their infrastructure. They set the rate. There are some parameters you can put around it, but that's a bit more what that would be. And so it wouldn't be necessarily like our parking fee. It would be their fee on their space that they're leasing from us.
Okay.
So that's what we've seen some other cities do. I'm not personally aware of, though this might be out there, like that gets more complicated when it's inside our garage, right, where we're charging it. So that works
Right.
better at a surface lot. But yeah, that's more the model we've seen for that. There are some providers who do that.
Okay, great. Thank you. All right, then I think we've concluded commissioner questions. So for the record, I have to ask if there's anyone in the public who would like to address the commission on this topic.
We have no members of the public wishing to provide public comments.
Thank you, Mr. Secretary. Then we'll close public comment, and we will move on to commissioner comments. Let's go reverse order. How about Vice Chair Patch?
Thank you for this presentation. It's great. I actually just recently went to London, and I was going to reach out to you because I saw some cool things around EV chargers, and then I saw this was on the agenda, and I was like, oh, I can just wait now. So that's kind of cool. One of the things that I saw in London is they have Shell charging units attached to telephone poles and street lights. So the city basically leases the street lights to Shell, and Shell charges, but they're responsible for the maintenance and stuff. And so that's why I asked about corporate sponsorships. I know you're not looking to expand, but that might be something to start thinking about and considering. And as you're looking for a third-party vendor, I would definitely ask them or include in their qualification portion what their creative solutions are to this issue, right? Because as you said, we have 40 ports, but we have goals of installing a lot more than that. So knowing not just how we're maintaining it now, but how the expansion is going to work would be really important. I have found as you change vendors that can be complicated. So if we could find a vendor that actually works with the growth plan as well as the maintenance plan, that would be really important. Also, on the data front, I would be really curious if they can tell us which of our locations are full most of the time, so that maybe that's an indicator that there needs to be more chargers there or a higher priority on maintaining those chargers versus if the other areas are not used as much. As a person who lives in a multifamily complex who cannot install a charger, I understand the importance of these publicly available chargers. I do think it's reasonable to start charging for them, especially if it's a nominal amount that kind of just covers the electricity or a portion of the maintenance coverage. I think that as we move forward, the communication on that and why we're charging instead of free is going to be making sure that we communicate on that will make sure that it's successful. and hopefully will address some of the user conflict that you're experiencing at places that shouldn't be charging just for charging purposes, right? I would also look at if the vendor can have a robust plan for replacing the old ones. It's really disappointing to hear that they're not modular anymore. That's just from a sustainability perspective, really irritating to me. Like, why are we wasting materials instead of just replacing the thing that is broken? And I understand that comes from the charger vendor itself and not the person or the company that's going to maintain them. But if they have those relationships or they have insights in how we can not have to create waste as we're replacing old chargers, that would be great to hear. A lot of my comments are just about the expansion, which you're not focusing on, but also I love that we're doing this. So I'll probably just send you an email about ideas that I have for expanding our EV chargers in general so that we stay on topic here.
It was mostly around 4 to 8 years old with their parents. Most e-bike and bicycle safety advocacy is typically targeted more at like kind of 12 to 18, like tweens and teenagers who are out biking on their own, who might be riding e-bikes in a kind of unsafe speed or fashion so that they can learn best practices. So that had kind of been what we'd expecting, which is why we opened at 3 o'clock after school gets out. But we saw that it was definitely a much younger demographic who are kind of just learning the basics of cycling, doing practice, sometimes with training wheels. And that also meant that the spike in attendance was after 5 o'clock when their parents could take them directly after work. We also learned that rodeo is not a great fit for Walnut Creek. People thought it was some kind of hoedown or something. It's not really the kind of place we are. So if we were going to do it again, we would probably choose a name that's a little bit less home on the range. We would also probably want to increase staffing. We had enough to make it work, but it was more strained than we typically like to plan for. That's just something where you have to kind of do it and see how it goes. So now we know. We would also revise certain passport exercises, like the Mad Libs one. We had our traffic engineering booth supervising and stamping that and managing, handing out the passports and redeeming them. And it could lead to some, holdups and delays. And we would also have more trash facilities and staff. Also just something you kind of have to try and see how it goes. We are considering also adding something to the passport about trash pickup so that the attendees have an incentive to participate and help out, especially for kids. It's a great way to teach them sustainable practices. So I just want to give a special thanks to a lot of the organizations that helped us out. Street sweeping, parking enforcement, and traffic maintenance were crucial to clearing out the area, making sure that everything was clean and ready to go, helping us set up. Rooted Coffee donated us a giant pitcher of cold brew, so even though they weren't attending, their presence was definitely felt. Sports Macement and Bike Link helped provided coupons or gift cards that we were allowed to distribute on their behalf. And Target supplied, of course, the prize for the pedal passport, which was huge. We also had a lot of other city staff who weren't from the specific departments listed, who volunteered their time to help us with setup and teardown. And I just wanted to show this picture here of a thank you from one of the attendees. So with that in mind, I will open it up to you. We would love to hear your thoughts and insights about how we can make Bike Month 2027 even better. Is there anything else you'd like to see at the rodeo, which would probably be under a different name if it happens? And how would you feel about staff focusing our time and resources more on this event and potentially suspending the morning station? Thank you.
All right, Commissioner questions. How about Commissioner McMahon?
Yeah, this was an awesome event. I went to one of the stations, and it was great just being there. One of my favorite parts of it is the bike to work bags. We always try to get a few every single year, so I would say get as many as possible. And then, I don't know, can you guys sell them as well? Because we would like to buy them, honestly, because we use them all the time. We lose them all the time. And I want as many as possible.
So a little info about that. The Bike to Work Day branded merch is supplied to us by an organization called 511 Contra Costa. They provide it to everyone hosting an Energizer station. It's a fixed amount, which is why we always run out of bags so fast. So we're not really allowed to sell them either. It's kind of part of the partnership. We agree to host an Energizer station, be part of their network, and in return they help us with some supplies, including the bags, also like chapsticks. They give us some money to buy snacks and some other things. So we were this year, because we had the morning event and the evening event, we were able to double dip. So we got twice as much stuff to host twice as many events. But we can't really scale up and get more bags on our own outside of that.
Okay.
Much as we'd like to, because we do always run out really fast. People love the bags.
They're the best. We love them. Yeah, I definitely agree with changing the name from rodeo, because I was confused as well as a bike rider. I'm like, what's going on with this? But yeah, I love all the pictures, and seems like a great event. Seems like you did a great job. I'd love to be considered in helping out with the event. So if you guys need more people, definitely reach out and let me know, and I'd love to be there next year.
That's great. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
We have a volunteer. Commissioner Guerrero.
I'll throw my name into volunteer also. I would love to help out. Talking about those bags, maybe we can find another vendor who can make something like it, and maybe we could turn it into a prize for sustainability games. Talked about trash, teaching kids. I've seen that before, where they have a certain amount of trash. It's not dirty, but they get to figure out where it goes as far as recycling and stuff goes. And then you talked about having older the youths. So I know tomorrow Northgate has their Bike to School Day. I don't know if that's something, not just them, but maybe you can coordinate with having it on the same day one of the high schools or middle schools, are biking to school day. Maybe in the afternoon they can come by after school and they can participate. Just throwing it out there.
Yeah, it's something we can look into. And definitely doing direct outreach with the schools is a good way to get more students to come, especially those older demographics, whether or not it's on the same Bike to School Day that they have.
Yeah, but no, I think it's great.
Vice Chair Patch.
All right, I have a couple of questions. With the morning station versus this, did you see more of those older high school age students at the morning station that was on the trail?
We did, because Las Lomas is down there. A lot of them were in too much of a hurry. They didn't even want to grab a free banana. They kind of just ignored us. Some of them did stop, but it was a lot of kind of older groups, including some of the families with young children who we got to advertise the evening event to. There was still probably more of those, 10 to 16 kids in the morning. Even if a lot of them ignored us, a lot of them didn't. So we did mention the evening event to them where we could, but it seems like they were not enticed.
And do you feel like it was about the same level as last year at that station as your?
It was similar. It was a little less. Last year we had 219, and this year it was 200, but still pretty comparable. And our old City Hall stations would get 100, so it's way better than that.
Great. And how did you decide to have the evening event at Civic Park instead of any other location?
Civic Park, it's city-owned, so we have the latitude to do things like clear out the parking lot for the obstacle course, clear out the area, host all the vendors, get the setup going earlier. We wanted something that was close at hand because all of our staff that is helping out needed to be able to get their materials over there and back in a reasonable time frame. We used city fleet vehicles like pool cars to help transport everything, but giving people the option to just walk back to City Hall or at the end of the day to walk to BART or whatever, it makes it much easier for not only our dedicated staff, but also the people volunteering their time. And I don't think we had any issues with the venue this year, really. It served our purposes very well.
Great. That's awesome to hear. And then a few meetings ago, we had a great presentation on the Bike to School. It has a special name. Is that what it's called?
The walk and roll program.
Thank you. The walk and roll program. Did you reach out to them about any collaboration?
So the walk and roll program is also undertaken by 511 Contra Costa, who's the Bike to Wherever Day organization. So we were collaborating with them very closely.
Okay. Great.
You could mention that Caro had a station up in the trail.
Yes, yeah, they had a station dedicated to that further up on the Iron Horse Trail as well. Yeah,
I figured they had an Energizer station. Wasn't sure about
yeah.
the evening event. Okay,
They were the ones who used the bike blenders, which is why we were not allowed to borrow them.
fair. Okay, that's it for my questions.
Great. What, when you had the people showing up at the station, we're
The morning station?
The morning station, we're gathering feedback from them, right? Or we're getting questions. Were there any thematic questions or comments from the 200 folks?
You know, that trail crossing is pretty hairy. It's got a very long signals across a very wide, stretches of roadway. So people are generally pretty excited about the thought of having a diagonal crossing, about having general improvements. Unsurprisingly, since we were right at that corner, catching people going from corner to corner, they were more focused on that than on the other, Newell Ave improvements. But that doesn't mean that they're not meaningful. It's just what's the demographic you're catching?
So what makes you comfortable with the thought of potentially suspending the morning station? Because there's obviously something in the back of your mind going, wait, maybe we can do without it. What's behind that?
So we had kind of a post-mortem this morning. As I alluded to in the presentation a bit, it was very draining on staff time, resources, and energy. So being able to consolidate all of that into the evening event leaves us with much more options to make that much better instead of having to stretch ourselves so thin. So it's not necessarily true that we would do that. It's just a possibility we're exploring, not only for our time and energy, but also the people helping us, the volunteers, potential donors supplying things or showing up. It's basically just that if we have, one event that's smaller scale and, not as fun, and we have one that's a much bigger deal, being able to consolidate everything into that could potentially, have a much better day overall.
I'll add that we're also looking at impact in terms of the community and engagement, and we just feel like the afternoon event engages a lot better. It gives that full experience of a festival kind of going on. Getting kids actually on bikes at the younger ages is great. But yeah, the day, it's a great day. It's a holiday really for us in terms of celebrating alternative modes. But it's 7 a.m. to 7 p.m.
Got it.
And there's a lot of steps. I got my 15,000 steps that day. It's a lot of moving stuff, coordination, and not only that, prepping for both events in advance. So Brianna, Henry, and I were holding down a lot of that effort. So
Got it. And like all good Hallmark movies, there's always a festival.
Something else I'll add is that the evening event, even if they're just passersby who see a sign at Civic Park, they're coming on purpose. They're necessarily interested. Whereas in the morning, you're just catching some fraction of people on their way who are willing to stop. A lot of them are just happy to grab a snack and go, and that's fine. That's what we're there for. But in terms of outreach, having these dedicated information booths, especially with a prize incentive to go visit them all, it lets us be a lot more direct and a lot more specific across different areas, just cover a lot more ground as well in terms of outreach and information.
Great. All good thinking there. Any other commissioner questions? There being none, we will move to public comment. Is there anyone in the public who wishes to comment on this item?
we have no members of the public wishing to provide comment.
Thank you, Mr. Secretary. We'll close public comment and move to commissioner comments. How about we'll do Vice Chair Patch?
You just like going in reverse order. It's fun.
I like to mix it up.
Yeah. Thank you for this presentation. I am so glad that it was such a successful event for our first time trying something like this. I mean, that's very hard to do. So props to all of the staff that made that happen. I was really sad to miss it. I ended up with a migraine that day, so I couldn't go. But it sounded like it was really great. I kind of understand why the children participating skewed in a younger age, just given the passport that we put together. So I think there might need to be like a second activity or a more complicated obstacle course if you do want to get those older children involved and participating in a way that's meaningful. Like maybe there is 2 activities, right? Like there's a safe space to learn to ride a bike, and then there's an obstacle course that's harder for those teens. In terms of the morning station versus this, I totally hear staff on it takes a lot of effort and resources to do that. I'm almost wondering if maybe we need to think about doing the bike, not a rodeo on a different day, like halfway through the year. So you have 2 events kind of trying to promote bike safety and other modules of transportation, just because I think that the morning station does hit a different demographic than a fun festival, family-focused situation. Or maybe you save having those morning stations for years where we are looking for public feedback on specific transportation changes, right? So last year it was really important because we were asking questions about the changes the city was looking to make on some of those intersections where we had the station. And maybe we didn't need it this year because we got the feedback last year. Or next year we don't need it because we're not doing anything active. Instead of just doing away with it entirely for foreseeable future, using it more strategically when we want to do constituent engagement. And then it sounded like you had a lot of booths for your first year, which is fantastic. I think 2 ideas for additional booths is working with the organization downtown Walnut Creek to see if maybe they'll get some of the Walnut Creek businesses to have booths there. A lot of them do have, bike racks right in front of their stores, so those might be particular companies that want to participate. And then why am I forgetting the name again? Roll to School?
Walk and roll.
Walk and roll program. I got that they had a little Energizer station, but it feels like they should have a booth at this festival as well, specifically because they focus on bike safety for kids. And they can, talk to the parents about if they want to volunteer or if their school is not already participating in the program, how they could get the program at their school.
Thank you, Commissioner Guerrero.
I thought it was a good presentation, and yeah, thank you very much. Other comments?
Commissioner McMahon.
Yeah, thank you for the presentation. That was awesome. The bike rodeo looked super fun. And yeah, I think it's one of the best days of the year in Walnut Creek, honestly, overall. And I really like what Commissioner Patch said about maybe making it 2 days, where, yeah, just so you guys don't have to, be there all day. And then, and then you kind of have 2 days where we're focused on alternate forms of transportation. But honestly, from the pictures and from your presentation, it looks like you've been doing it for many years, and it's looking awesome. So I think, maybe just a few little tweaks here and there to just get more people out there and make it better. And get a few more older kids in there, I think would be great. But it sounds like you guys are on the right track, and you're doing a great job. So really appreciate that.
Thank you. This was great. It's very cute. I like the idea. I also like the idea of expanding it. I guess the main comment I'm thinking of, I always like to think a little outside the box. So I was thinking about the state of the Walnut Festival, and, it was been displaced from Heather Farms Park. Some people have suggested, why can't we have the Walnut Festival at Civic Park? Secretary's wondering where I'm going with this. But what about maybe growing this a little bit bigger within the confines of Civic Park and, at a minimum, make it all, call it all non-car transportation mode. So walking, biking, e-biking, e-scooters, You could also even bring in Contra Costa County Transit. You know, it's another form of, it's not human transportation per se, but it's another form of non-vehicle, because I think that's where we're kind of driving towards. And if you could bring in more, if you could get more maybe food booths and vendors there, and just kind of grow it to maybe make it a little bit bigger. If you're going to go with festival, I came up with a crazy name, the Bike Nut Festival instead of the Walnut Festival. But I know that sounds really bad. But I'm just wondering, you know, consider thinking a little bit bigger. You got a lot great facility there, and I think people in Walnut Creek are craving what they're not getting with the displaced Walnut Festival, even if it's going to be obviously a lot smaller than what the Walnut Festival used to be. And, you know, now when they do the Walnut Festival, that when they do it in Antioch, and that's really far away. What could we make this something bigger, but at the same time keep that, you know, non-automobile transportation focus as a theme? That's really my only comment, other than, you know, great work on the event. And I think this, just like the other item, we don't need a motion. We're just receiving information. So I get to do it again. This topic is closed. Thank you very much. Here, feel the gavel.
I own a gavel.
All right. All right, moving on to commissioner announcements and brief reports on activities. So do any of the commissioners have any activities they've attended or have any announcements or reports? Anybody?
We have the breakfast to report on.
We can't. Would you like to report on that, Vice Chair
Go
Patch?
for it.
I think you would be fantastic at it.
I don't know what to report on. I just think we should.
I'll just you know, every quarter there's for people who don't know, there's a mayor's breakfast meeting. It usually has the mayor, the vice mayor, mayor pro tem, city manager, and then it has the chair and vice chair of all the commissions and committees, and then usually the city staff, usually the secretaries of the various commissions, and we get great update from the mayor on what's going on in the city, the mayor pro tem, and the city manager. And then we rotate around, and each pair of commission chair and vice chairs do an update on what's happened since the last meeting at the various commissions. So it's a great way to share. I always encourage, even if you're not chair or vice chair, when I'm not vice chair or chair, I still go. It's really fun to listen to, and you get a free breakfast with some pretty good food. So anything that brings up some memories for you? All right, any other? The only activity I took part in, because I think I mentioned this at that quarterly breakfast meeting, I did a Friday night ride along with Walnut Police with Officer Eric Patton. That was really a lot of fun, very educational, and I encourage others to request a ride along. The police department's very open and likes to take people along and show us what they do and how they do it. I was definitely very impressed with, I never realized, because when you're just at a restaurant in downtown, you might see one police vehicle. But when I was driving around with Officer Patton, I couldn't believe how many times we ran into another officer. We have a lot of active patrolling on Friday and Saturday nights in downtown. Made me feel a lot safer. So I encourage people to take advantage of the generosity of the police department allowing the ride-alongs. So that's all I've got. Oh, go ahead, Vice Chair.
The crosswalk improvement, bike trail improvement on Jones Road is in place, and it looks fantastic. Great job.
Do we have any report outs from
Yeah.
our
Yeah,
esteemed secretary?
Well, we have so many, I'm going to have Brianna come up and
All right.
Yeah, hi, commissioners. Again, for the new commissioners, my name is Brianna Byrne. I'm also a traffic engineer here at the City of Walnut Creek. So good news, grant updates. So back in January, Rashad Culver with our capital improvement program presented on TDA grant. We were going for $100,000 to cover a portion of Class 4 bikeways on Newell Avenue. We asked for 100, we got 80. So, and then the other grant update, just this past Tuesday, we applied for TFCA grant. It's Transportation Clean Air Fund Air for clean air. And so we applied for $220,000 to cover a portion of our Parkside Cycle Track project. This project receives some funds from our Affordable Housing and Sustainable Communities grant that we were awarded a couple of years ago, but with the cost of construction and general price increases, we're noticing a deficit, so we had pursued $220,000. So we applied on Tuesday. Stay tuned for updates on that. And then the last thing I'm going to share before passing off to Matt, also on Tuesday, as we're still coming down from our party planning energy, Matt and I got the opportunity to work with our local fire department, Station Number 1, over on Civic Drive, just literally across the street. They had reached out a couple weeks ago about our preemption system. So at our traffic signals, there's a device where emergency service vehicles like ambulances, police officers, and fire, they can put in a signal to our traffic signals and ask for the green. So they had reached out about some intersections they were having difficulty with. And so Matt and I got to do a bit of a ride along. I was in the front seat with the laptop, remoted into our servers, and Matt was at the cabinet making sure that we were getting the preempt. And so we looked at 5 intersections. We were able to investigate a couple tweaks. Our traffic signal maintenance guys made a couple tweaks, confirmed some were working, and Matt and I have some next steps, and we're looking to do another ride along with our officers in the next 6 months or so after we've been able to make more tweaks on our system.
Yeah, that was fun. Just as a kind of public announcement, the bridge, the pedestrian bridge that goes along the Iron Horse Trail over Treat Boulevard, it has some repairs, and so they will be closing Treat Boulevard. They'll close Treat Boulevard at this location at Jones Road, basically, at night for 2 weeks' time. I don't know when this will be. Just heads up. And if we meet again, I'll have a date if they're closer to working on that. You should know the general plan study session meeting is on June 25th at 6 p.m. on the 3rd floor, which you can take that elevator to get up to. So just looking for your attendance there. It's a basically informational item, gather feedback, and kind of start that general plan outreach effort with our commissioners. So it'll be all the commissioners will be gathering. And that's all. Thank you.
Great, everyone's favorite topic, meeting adjourned.